it's TxStampin Sharon. I am going to be sharing just some basic card bases today and layers. This video is for beginners, but if you're an avid stamper, I want you to watch because I'm asking for your help on this video. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 20 years. I absolutely love helping you make cards and giving you lots of tips and tricks. If you've not already subscribed to my channel, you can do so below. After you subscribe, hit that little bell. You'll be notified the next time I upload a video. If I can ever help you with any of your Stampin' Up! Supply needs, I would be so honored. Let's get to the video. I get questions all the time about how do I start making a card? And as a card maker, I want to help everyone be able to get started making cards like right away. So there's a few basic things, and on today's video, we're just going to be talking about card bases and layers. Whenever you're making a card, you want to have a good sturdy piece of cardstock. Stampin' Up! Sells a Whisper White Thick that I love to use for my card bases. You know, for a card base, it's going to be holding, or it could be holding a lot of layers. And so you don't want to use a thinner piece of cardstock for your base. There's two different ways that you can cut your cardstock. One, you can line it up in the trimmer and cut it at 4 1/4. And I always say whenever you're making one card, make two. You want to score this. Now the Stampin' Up! Trimmer has a scoring blade that I use quite often. This measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches. So half of 11 is 5 1/2. And I want to score it at 5 1/2. So now I have a little score line that I can fold. And I use my bone folder to give it a good crease. All right. So now this card can open this way or this way, depending on my design. This is portrait mode. And in the United States, it is considered an A2 card, which means it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right, so that is an A2. Now, I prefer to use my bone folder. Some people ask, do they have to? No, you can, or even score it first. But I have figured out that when I don't, I get a really, I don't know if you can tell, the cracked lines of the cardstock. It's almost like it puts too much pressure on the cardstock when you just fold it without it being scored. You could take a bone folder and come back in and try to fix that, but look what happens. Let me see. I'll get a piece of red here so you can see. Can you see how it's cracked the cardstock? Just not very pretty at all. So I highly recommend that you score first. And Stampin' Up! Has a simply scored tool that you could use, or you can use the scoring blade on the paper trimmer. All right, let's show you another cut. I want my card base. I'm going to use real red for my card base. And this time I'm going to lay it on the trimmer this way. And I'm going to cut it in half. Again, gonna make one card, let's make two. And I'm going to score it and make sure you move the cutter out of the way. Half of this would be 4 1/4. And I prefer to pull the blades towards me. I just feel like it gives me a better pressure. So now, if I don't use my bone folder, my card doesn't wanna lay down. I mean, you can kind of rub it with your fingers, but I just get a better result when I use the bone folder. See how nice that just lays down? So now I have a landscaped card this way that opens up like this, or I can turn it this way and have a portrait mode and have it open up like this. Now, whenever I'm using a dark card base, I do add another layer of white in there, and we're going to talk about layers next. So next we want to talk about layering. Whenever I'm doing a layer, I want my layer to be a 1/4 of an inch smaller than my base. Now that's my common way of layering cards is a 1/4 of an inch. You can have any size layers you want. So I'm going to put my paper in this way because I have less waste if I cut my cardstock like this. So that means if this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I want 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now, if you are an avid stamper, this video is great. It's a great place for you to add any comments. When you began stamping, what would have been a good tip for you to learn as you were beginning to make your cards? I'm going to add this on with some snail. And I want you to see, I now have about 1/8 of an inch layer all the way around. So I cut my I cut my layer 1/4 of an inch smaller than my base. And remember how I said I want something on the inside? I'm going to cut this piece. Nope, this piece will be 5 1/4. And I'll add that on the inside. That way, whenever I write my message or do any stamping, then I have a nice surface to do that with. So that is your basic layout. And then from there, you can start adding other layers, some ribbon, your stamping, whatever. If you're going to be doing stamping, I recommend that you stamp first before you adhere, because we might make a little mistake, or in this case, I stamped the flower off. I don't want to stamp on my card base. I want to, have a piece of scrap paper underneath this layer and do my stamping. The main reason you want to stamp first is what if you make a little mistake? Guess what? There are 2 pieces to every side of paper. You can just turn it over and stamp, and once you adhere it onto the card base, you're good to go. On this card, I added several layers. See this? So let's show you how we did that. So my first layer is going to be the same as it was a while ago. I'm going to do 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to take some white, and this is just the regular white. I don't need the thicker white because I have my base. My base is my good, strong, sturdier cardstock. My whisper white, just the plain, is great for stamping on and adding as layers. So this one, let's talk about measurements again. This was 4 inches by 5 1/4. So if I want it 1/4 of an inch smaller, I want it to be 5 inches because this was 5 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it. This was 4 inches. So now I want my layer to be 1/4 of an inch smaller. So it's going to be 3 3/4 of an inch. So leave comments below about other things that you're struggling with whenever you're beginning card making. And if you're an avid stamper, if you've been doing it for a long time, what other tips can you add to help your fellow card makers be successful as they're beginning? All right, so see, that's that layer. And then I can come back in with my sentiment layer and all of that. Again, do your stamping first. Here's the example again of my 2 cards. Again, you can open them and turn them either way you want, like this. So yeah, this is just basic card bases and layering. And again, you can add, the possibilities are endless. What else can you do from here? Go to Pinterest, look up card making layouts. Look at all of the work that people have done for you and just follow, start a board and then pin those. And then that way you have some great ideas on what to do next or what other size layers you can do. The possibilities are endless. Just have fun and just start making cards. I sure hope this helped y'all. If you're a beginner stamper, we want to help you learn how to do it and not have any stresses. If there's anything else I can help you with, please let me know. Happy stamping, y'all.